Welcome, nostalgia seekers. Today we're diving into a treasure trove of millennial things you totally forgot were awesome. Get ready for a blast from the past. Think dial-up modems, blockbuster nights, and digital pets that beeped for your attention. We're talking about the weird, the wonderful, and the sometimes cringy stuff that made us who we are. Each memory we revisit will unlock a core part of your childhood. So grab your Dunkaroos, put on your favorite pop-punk playlist, and get comfy. This isn't just a trip down memory lane. It's a celebration of the moments, trends, and gadgets that defined a generation. Some will make you laugh, some might make you cringe, and some will have you shouting, "Oh yeah, I totally forgot about that." Ready? Let's rediscover the awesome millennial things that made growing up unforgettable. Let's do this! Long before we were swiping right, we were pushing tiny buttons on a plastic egg, desperately trying to keep a pixelated creature alive. Remember Tamagotchis? These little digital pets from the 90s beeped their way into our hearts and our backpacks. They were a global phenomenon that taught an entire generation about responsibility, one demanding low-res beep at a time. Before smartphones, this was our most prized possession. You'd beg your parents for a puppy, only to be handed this as a trial run. The deal was clear. Prove you could handle this digital dependent, and they'd consider a real pet. It was the ultimate test of childhood responsibility. A high-stakes game played out on a tiny monochrome screen from the moment you pulled that plastic tab. These little eggs came in every color imaginable, solid, glittery, even see-through. The hunt for a rare shell was a serious mission. Once it was alive, you were a full-time digital parent. The 3-button interface became second nature as you navigated the icons to feed it, play games, and clean up its pixelated poop. And let's not forget the mysterious discipline function. Too many snacks led to an unhappy pet. Forgetting to clean up was a digital disaster. Nothing induced more anxiety than that desperate muffled beep coming from your desk during a silent reading test. You'd freeze, hoping the teacher wouldn't notice as you tried to secretly save your Tamagotchi from certain doom. On the playground, they were social currency. Evolving your pet into a cool character made you a legend. But if neglect led to the dreaded blobby one, or worse, the little angel icon, it was the ultimate playground shame. Soon, Gigapets and Nanopets joined the fray, expanding our digital menageries. Fun fact, the name Tamagotchi combines the Japanese word for egg, tamago, and watch. So yes, you were literally wearing an egg watch. Looking back, Tamagotchis were more than just toys. They were our first taste of responsibility. Our first experience with the gut-wrenching heartbreak of digital loss, and our first foray into a life governed by notifications. They were a core millennial memory, all packed into one unforgettable beeping egg. Friday nights meant one thing for millennials: blockbuster runs. The anticipation would build all day. This wasn't just renting a movie, it was the official kickoff to the weekend. Let's dive into the ultimate ritual that brought families and friends together for movie magic. For millennials, Blockbuster wasn't just a store, it was a destination. Picture this. It's Friday night, you're in the back seat, and then you see it. That iconic, torn ticket sign. As you pull up, those blue and yellow lights glow like a beacon of weekend freedom. The excitement was palpable. The doors slide open, and you're hit with that unmistakable smell. The plastic of VHS cases, the buttery popcorn, and a hint of carpet cleaner. It was a sensory overload in the best way, the official scent of the weekend. The first mission was a mad dash to the new releases wall, hoping your movie wasn't already snatched up. Seeing that empty spot with just a cardboard placeholder was a moment of genuine despair. But then, the real adventure began, wandering the aisles. You might bravely venture down the horror section or head straight for the video games to rent GoldenEye 007 for another weekend of multiplayer battles. And let's not forget the family negotiations. It was the great Die Hard versus You've Got Mail debate. Dad wanted action, Mom wanted a rom-com, and you were lobbying hard for an animated movie, or trying to convince them a PG-13 rating was basically for kids. Once the movie was picked, it was time for the real treat. The candy aisle. Giant boxes of Bunch of Crunch, Sour Patch Kids, or Milk Duds were a must. You might even find some Blockbuster-branded gummies. No movie night was complete without them. There was something magical about holding that chunky VHS case, reading the back, and imagining the night ahead. Then came the sleek DVD, which meant no more rewinding, but introduced the new terror of a scratch disc. Still, there was no endless scrolling, just the thrill of the hunt and the pride of your pick. Of course, there was a dark side, late fees. The dread of returning a tape late and hearing you owe $7.50 was real. And don't forget the be kind rewind rule. Forgetting was a cardinal sin, which is why so many of us had those dedicated car-shaped tape rewinders. Blockbuster was more than a store. It was a community hub. You'd run into friends, get movie tips from staff, the original recommendation algorithms, who'd point you toward a hidden gem. It was a place where memories were made, and every Friday night felt like a mini holiday. The best part? The pure joy of finding that last copy of a hit movie on the shelf. That feeling as you clutched it to your chest. Absolute victory. You had won the Blockbuster lottery. No streaming algorithm can ever top that tangible triumph. Blockbuster nights were iconic, and for millennials, they'll always be legendary. Let's talk about the art of the away message, AIM. If you grew up in the era of dial-up, you know this was more than just a chat app. It was a rite of passage for every millennial logging onto the internet for the first time. This was our first digital clubhouse, a place to forge an identity before social media profiles even existed. Picture this: the family desktop humming, the dial-up modem screeching its robotic song of connection, and you, fingers poised to log into AOL Instant Messenger. You probably had to beg your parents to get off the phone first. AIM wasn't just a chat app, it was the heart of millennial internet culture. Before group texts and DMs, you had to negotiate for the phone line just to get online. The anticipation was real. And then, bam! That iconic door creak sound meant your digital world was open for business. A moment later, the door slam sound meant your best friend logged off. The emotional whiplash was intense. Suddenly, your buddy list lights up, meticulously organized into groups like friends and school. Is your crush online? Your best friend? Or gasp, your mom? Every sign-on was a social event, and every ping was a possibility. But the real magic, the away message. This was your digital billboard, your secret code, your personal stage. It was your chance to be mysterious, hilarious, or just plain dramatic. Forget "be right back." The true artists crafted masterpieces. Cryptic song lyrics from Dashboard Confessional, inside jokes, or a perfectly timed "at the mall" tile. It was the original status update, and it spoke volumes. There were genres, the busy and popular message, the vague emotional plea like, "sometimes it's better to be alone," and the not-so-subtle subtweet before Twitter even existed. Your away message was a work of art, and often a cry for attention. Fonts, colors, tildes, asterisks, every detail mattered. Your screen name, probably something like XSK8RBOI88X, was your first brand. Your buddy icon was your face to the world. Finding the perfect pixelated icon was a quest worthy of a hero. AIM taught us the art of multitasking. 15 chat windows, homework, and a carefully curated profile all at once. The fear of typing in the wrong window was a constant low-grade anxiety. It was messy, dramatic, and absolutely glorious. So here's to AIM, the birthplace of the away message, the training ground for our digital lives, and the place where we learn to be ourselves, one status at a time. It taught us the art of the subtext and the humble brag, skills we still use today.